some pass rush game stuff. There's a big man. Pass rush games, and it starts off with really what we know as the pass rush games, and then we're gonna work, and then it works into read games, which turn into pass rush games. If you in here earlier today, we talked a lot about read games, and read games turn into pass rush games versus drop back pass. Okay, go ahead, please, Coach. Okay, as always, my definition, you know, I know I'm goofy doing stuff like that, but everything, I try to define everything, and then I try to say, okay, why are we doing it? What are the objectives of it? Once I understand that, once they understand that, I think it's helpful. We want to change the rush lanes, as you know, in the rush pattern on the move. We want to change the lanes and the pattern of the rush on the move. That's the definition of our games. We're a little bit higher on this because this is a long yardage situation. We're anticipating drop back pass. We'll Omaha the game if we get a set that looks like a dash. If the backs, sometimes you see the back a little wider and it's a dash look, we'll Omaha it to that side. We don't like to run a pass rush game, an upfield game versus a dash, so we'll come out of it that way. We'll call the game a lot of times based on the formation. The general rule would be this: we would run the game either to the side of the back or away from the back. Most of the people we see would turn the center away from the back, okay? It's a general rule. That's not always true, of course. So we would work our penetrator to the side of the back, okay? Because we anticipate the center turning protection the other way. But anyways, all right, the objections. Disrupt the protection, just like we just talked about just then. Number 2, free up an outstanding rusher. One year, John, and you probably remember this, Wade had me come out and interview with Dan Reeves. It's when they hired Rex. So I went out there and interviewed, and I really enjoyed it just because it was a great chance to talk football and be around some great football coaches. Coach Reeves asked me, what's your favorite pass rush game? And I said, well, it depends on our personnel. I've always believed that you freed up a guy who would block a kick. If you want to have a good, you free up a guy to block one. I've seen times that we'd free up a guy who wouldn't block one. So, back it up just a little bit, Coach. So I told Coach Reeves, I said, we got a guy named Michael Brooks right now at LSU, and back it up one time, please, Coach. In one of my favorite games are to free Michael Brooks up, because he can get the damn quarterback. It's our
press and hold our play.
Our play, I think is what it is. I got it. Okay. So,
Coach?
yes.
Are you gonna spend a little time on that first one, disruption of pass pro?
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
Thank you.
Can you get it back? Can you get back?
Try, Coach. Get our play.
I think it's 3-9. 3-9 will do it. One, we talked about freeing up an outstanding rusher. Another thing is creating a mismatch. You know, you'd like to think getting a back in on a back, whatever, or a weak pass rusher, blocker in a critical situation against your best rusher. You know, things like that. Create some kind of mismatch to create an advantage for your team. Okay. Change the hitting points for the draw. See, I think one thing, John, a lot of people, I think Jim became kind of a believer in this too. I think the lead draw, the slide draw, I think the games divert that, keep it from running north and south quite as much. that you get that movement in there and you divert it, and you change the hitting point from that thing being north and south to maybe spilling and working east and west. And of course, the last one, the obvious one, is to pressure the quarterback. Okay?
Go to Renko.
Yes, go right ahead. Okay, this is a drill that we did in college on Thursday, where we talked about lanes and games. This is a rehearsal drill on Thursday. Go ahead and show that thing, Coach. You can see they in shoulder pads and shorts. Go ahead and run it forward. This is lanes. They work in the lanes. That's a 5-man rush. Then you're going to see a game at it on both sides. We just call the game and rehearse it. Okay? So that little drill was called lanes and games, and that was a Thursday drill for us, to try to get the things polished and the steps polished like that. Okay, now when we in group, I mentioned this earlier in in the lecture about pass rush, 2-on-2 pass rush. Okay, this is working against the O-line. This is an ego game with the end going and the tackle coming around. I name them, stop it just a minute, right there. I try to name these things as simple as I can, because I think execution, you know, especially in pro football, you got a lot of stuff and a lot of names, and if you're not careful, you start naming things on the spur of the moment. You got a blitz and you name it something. I think tagging things are very, very important. Ego to us is simply in goes first. So this game, we can either bring him up the field and under if the tackle's really, really bailing, or we can bring him hard, look to pick the guard, entertain. His assignment is entertain, then contain. So this is the ego game. All right. Here's 2-on-2. Right here again. This I think is a straight rush. No, there's the ego game. Back one time, please. Ron, here's a nice hand block by the looper. Entertain, show him that inside shoulder. Now, let me tell you this, run this back one time, and we got two really good NFL defensive line coaches sitting here. Here's what happens in the NFL. Back one time and freeze it, Coach.
Yes, sir.
In the NFL, more so than college, and I would think certainly more so than in high school, they'll read your width to your 3. If he's real wide, they're going to anticipate the game, especially in large yardage situation. The other thing is this. The first time this guy makes any kind of move with any kind of width, this guy knows 1 out, I'm going to get 1 in. I mean, they do a great job of that stuff, okay? So we try to influence him as long as we can down the middle, entertain and then contain, okay? You watch Mike here. Now, there's a good hand blocker right here. This boy is the best hand blocker I got. Watch him as he loops. Watch him work the hand block on this guy. Well, this is the next one, okay? And run that one back one time, Coach, please. I would always do this as you work your 2-on-2 drill. Always keep a straight rush in there. Go ahead. Right. You always want to mix that for the offense and also for your guys.
Coach, with your ego stunt, do you have a spot where the end is going to?
I do. Run it back one time. Now let me say this to you. All I'm telling him is this. He becomes the A-gap rusher. Okay? He becomes the A-gap rusher. Now, I'm trying to answer that question. He might come hard here on the snap, or he might open it and come here. Okay? So I don't tell him, I just tell him this becomes his lane.
So there isn't really a landmark he's working towards.
A-gap. He becomes the tackle in the change of responsibility.
Number three is gonna try to hold the guard until he sees the flash of his
Right.
man. Then he loops behind
There
the
you go.
tango.
There you go. Entertain him and then contain him. I think this guy, yeah. Now, we did it a little bit different here. Run it back one time. Watch him here, yeah, he's really going to the extreme a little bit with the hold on it, but watch this right here. He's gonna open him, where the guy a while ago came right on the snap. He opened him and see, we try to just put, here, we do this fancy shit like on the boundary. I say, what do you think, we ought to open him, or you think you ought to go right now? Hell, they doing it. And it involves them too. He'll say, well, maybe I think I got him really bailing, I'll open and go under. Fine, let's try that. So, you know, that kind of changes as the game goes along and whatever. Okay, and I believe this is another straight rush. I couldn't get all this. Run it back one time, I want to show you a deep move. Watch the inside guy fake the guard. He looks outside, watch him. See the guard look outside? That's what I was telling you. So, stop it right there if you would. So we have to be really careful not to line up too wide or give him too wide an initial charge on the snap the ball, because they're going to read it. They're going to make the switch right now, and they're good at it. Ron, you guys are really good at it. Your offensive line out there, they do a nice job of picking up. Yeah.
Was that inside move similar to the Bob Swat just used as a pass technique, pass technique?
Out of the tackle?
Yeah.
Not really.
Okay.
I just want to tickle this guy, but I don't want to tip him by too much width. I want to tickle this guy, entertain him, try to free this end up, and then once I entertain him, then I got to take up the contact.
Okay.
All right, four down tackle games. Okay, this is the family that I put this in. These are tackle games out of a 4-down look. Okay, the first one I believe is going to be tattoo. That's at 2 tackles crossing. Okay, stop it right there just a minute. He's always going to be first on tattoo, just like we talked about while the other day on stunts the other day. This morning here. He's going to be first, and we tell him pick the hip and go to this shoulder of the quarterback. Go to this shoulder of the quarterback. Pick the hip and work to this shoulder of the quarterback. He's going to entertain the center. He's going to work to this shoulder. So we change. All we're doing is changing the lanes on the snap of the ball.
So the tackle's taking the offside A, really is where he's going to end up.
Yes, exactly. Because of this, Coach. Put it back one time. Because of this. If you didn't have a game on, this would be the offside A rusher.
Mm-hmm.
This would be the guy who would normally be the B, or if it widened too much, he could come underneath. But he would be the outside rusher of the two. So all we're doing is swapping the lanes. Good pick. Now here it is in the game. Penetrators to 3. Good. One right. Go back with it one time. Coming hard to pick that hip. Does a good job stripping the ball. Now, here's one that I think, I put this in here for one reason. Watch this ball, watch him hug this thing. The worst thing I think that happens to the tackle game, the tattoo game, is for this to get split. So we want this guy working here. We don't want this guy working way out here. Getting split here is really a bad thing to happen to us. Watch the looper as he comes around. See him fight and stay skinny on the thing? Okay? Do it one more time. This is a nice tackle game. And the thing I like is it's good penetration. Got good edge rush. We got good penetration. and it turns into a nice game. Now here's one. This is good. We get a nice play out of this thing. Here's one here. This guy, in my opinion, is too wide. He's too wide. He takes that thing with too much width. Now the penetrator, the 3 technique, does really a nice job. Go ahead, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
I think the looper was too wide.
Yeah.
Okay. Watch how tight this one's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Oof.
Now here's a pick on the hip.
Oh, nice.
One more time, Coach. Here's a pick on the hip. This is a penetrator. Got the nose is a looper coming around. 95. Okay, now stop it just a minute. Here's one of the things that we do. I don't know if you're interested in doing this or not. This is one of the things that we do. If it's turn protection, and we read the center, turn the protection into the penetrator, we abort the game. The game's aborted. Watch him here. Watch the 3 technique. He's the penetrator. Watch the nose read it. Okay, one more time. Because the reason I do that, guys, if they turn that protection to him, it's awful hard. It's awful hard for him to get this length. So as he reads the thing, if they slide the protection and turn it to him, he just now stays in his lane. This guy now aborts it and stays in his normal. So the game just comes off if they turn the protection to the penetrator. I don't know if that sounds hard or not. It really is not. It's kind of like what we talked about this morning with the defensive end and the wheel linebacker. Bringing the wheel off, and if they fan the protection, now the defensive end stays on the inside, and the wheel now becomes a contained rusher. We just own that protection. We just abort the game on that protection. Takes a little reps and work, but it's really not hard for guys to learn to do.
Coach, tackle's going to stay his side A.
Right, he would be this. He would be this. So he's going to come, they're going to slide it this way. He's going to stay. You'll watch him, he'll come out of it to here. Okay? Now this one I never have used much in the games, but this is the backwards of it. I just haven't, I've always liked it. I just never have used it very much. And this is auto. This is where the nose goes first rather than the 3 technique. Here the nose would work, and the 3 would entertain, and then he'd work. This one works out pretty good. The nose does a good job of driving and pushing. Go back with it one time, Coach. Go to the first shot of it. Let me see the first shot of it one more time, please. The one before this. What happens on this one? The end loses contain because they get it pitting with the back. Nose does a pretty good job driving the 8. The 3 wet wraps right off of behind. As you see, it freed him up. We get the quarterback on the move, which is sometimes a good thing. The right end, I don't like him. He's a linebacker. The right end, I don't like him very much. But he's a guy really used to rushing the passer. Okay, 4 down in tackle games. We looked at ego a while ago. We're going to look at it again here, I think first. This is the end first with ego. Same shot that you saw in practice a while ago. Now, here is the same 2 guys against the University of Virginia. Yeah, it's the same 2 guys running the ego game that you see in practice. I just happen to have that shot in practice and have the shot in the game. It's the same 2 guys. And you see this guy right here, if you run it back, he really does a good, watch the tackle, he does a great job, I think, of entertaining the guard. There's no tip here. Okay? Now run that back for me, Coach, one time. If you watch, this is a linebacker, this is a rush specialist we got here, a little guy. He opens the tackle and comes under. That's what we said. You know, you can game plan it that way where you want to open him, or you can come on and snap the ball that way. Here, this right end is going to come on and snap the ball. Back one time, please, Coach. Same thing here. Now, what I thought really happened good on this one right here, other than us not getting the daggum fumble, I thought the penetrator, watch how hard he continues to work. The penetrator must look at himself as a penetrator. He did a great job of just continuing to push up that field. We tell him, you got to, back it up one time, you got to keep working and keep getting penetration force, just like the defensive tackle does on a normal straight rush. Now, keep pushing, keep pushing. You know who that's Freddie? Coach, that's Freddie. Freddie Kitchens. You tight end, Coach?
Yeah, Freddie.
Yeah. Okay, this is Tango. This will be the tackle first and the end second. This is, now run that back one time. Now, here's what I tell the tackle on this. Stop him right there just a minute. And when we get to read games, I'm going to show you a shot in a minute of the prettiest I've ever seen it done. We tell him, rip, look to pick, and contain. Get the guard, look to pick, and then contain. Rip, pick, contain. Okay? Same, this will be, and he does a nice job. Sometimes we tell him you got to go to your spin move to get containment. These are the same two guys against Virginia. Back one time, please. Same two guys that did the practice right there. And you see 95 does it. He's serious about getting that guard too. Okay? Now, look at the left defensive tackle.
Oh.
Yeah, lit his ass up, didn't he? Well, I'm telling you. Look at the left defensive tackle here. Rip, pick, and contain. Okay? Now let's watch. This is running back. This is Marcus Washington. He just retired from the Redskins. Stop it right there just a minute if you would. This is something that we do in pro ball and it's pretty good. These are your three defensive linemen right here. Marcus is your wild card guy. In Philadelphia, we call him a joker. Different people do different things with him. But we always play him at the left end. So he can be a linebacker on a 3-down rush, and without having to change personnel, he becomes the left end, and you can go to 4-down as opposed to 3-down. And you don't have to worry about substitution and things like that. Brady James, that plays for the Cowboys, he was our joker. He became our left end on the rush. So Marcus was a linebacker. He's a linebacker that we put down, and he could really run. We tried to really free him any chance we got because he's a type athlete. So we converted from a 3-man rush there to a 4-man rush without changing, people on the field. Okay. I think the left tackle does a nice job. Back him up one time, please, Coach. In the NFL, this guard would read that. He's too wide. What, Coach?
I was just saying, the guy on this side occupied almost 3 guys
Yeah,
on the right, too.
that's what Rip
Both
picked.
tackles.
Yeah.
2 guys occupied 6.
Yeah, see, over here, let's look at it one more time. This is Tango to this side, and we got Ego working on the other side. We call that one scramble, or, you know, where we're gonna do them both. This is the tackle, the left tackle here. And what I try to tell them, you never know what's gonna happen. Don't ever be surprised. Run that back, please, because here they just let him go. They let the left tackle go. We're trying to run Tango. But that's okay, you know, it's okay. He tried to rip and pick it. They wouldn't let him. Okay?
75, what are you doing?
You wouldn't have turned like that.
All right, one more time on
That's
that.
fucking devastating.
One more time on
So Coach, we prefer to most of these are showing turn protection. So you'd want to run this stunt on the man side, not the turn side.
that. Yes. That's what I said. Now, that back right there is in the full position, so we didn't know where in the hell it was. But it's a general rule. We want to run that game to the side of the back, because we know they're going to turn protection the other way. The center's going to work to get away from the back. That's just a general rule. It's certainly not, as many protections as people have, it's certainly not a standard thing. Okay, one more time. I think this one's just a really good shot of people continuing to work. The game, we get a little freedom in the game. The quarterback does a good job of moving around. But they keep working until they get him, and that's what you need to do. Now, back this up, Coach, just a minute. Let me say one thing. Here's another coaching point that we have on the games. We feel like the games should be run in the line of scrimmage and not on the line of scrimmage. Okay? So if you watch now, watch this fold move by the end on the Tango. You see what I'm saying? We'd like to get penetration and run the game on their side of the line of scrimmage. So easy for them if we do it on our side of the line of scrimmage. So it's upfield, and we work off one another.
Coach, are you telling them to take a certain amount of steps before
Yeah,
they?
you'll see this right here.
Okay.
This is a two-step approach.
Guys, I'm perfect.
It's a two-step approach. Here's what we tell them. 1, 2, slide. 1, 2, slide. Okay? And when that thing hits right here, we try to slide right off the tackle's butt. All right? Watch this guy. He does a pretty good job of it, best I remember. Okay? One more time. This is Tango, and the Chicago right guard does a poor job. He almost gets tripped up like my ass did today over this carpet. Watch your right end though. Boom, boom. 1, 2, slide. Kick slide. 1, 2, foot hits. Kick slide behind him. Where it goes.
Okay.
I saw you adamant on that.
There we
All right, run it back one time. Hey, check this one out right here. Watch Javon right here. We were talking about the pull slide swim this morning.
Yeah.
Well, this is a really nice move by him. Just don't even quite get there before the other guy. I put this one in here because that's such a great shot. Here comes the end. Here comes the end. Watch the eyes. I tell you, when you want them that bad, boy.
He's focused, Coach. He's
Well, you're
focused.
damn right he is. Well, that's my rolling ball of butcher knives right there. I'm telling you. He will get after
Eagle eye.
He will get